There's something special about a great sword fight. That tension before blades clash, the quiet, the focus, the skill. Some anime make it beautiful, others make it brutal, but all of them leave a mark. So today, we're counting down the best sword fights in anime, ranked from number 18 all the way to the top. Let's dive in. At number 18, we have Samurai 7. Samurai 7 keeps its sword fights quiet and heavy. The blades land as answers to long, broken scenes. Not flashy spectacle, but small, meaningful clashes that decide lives. You watch because duty and sacrifice shape every duel. Each cut resolves a character's question. The animation keeps fights grounded and believable, so when a blade moves, it carries real consequence. If you want measured, meaningful swordplay, this one gives moments that stay with you. Coming in next, number 17, Hakuki. Hakuki stages its duels like private conversations in the cold. Moonlit blades, careful footwork, and the weight of loyalty make each fight feel mournful and intentional. These are not long action sequences, but emotional confrontations. A strike that settles a promise, a parry that carries regret. The choreography favors restraint, so when something breaks, it lands with real feeling. Watch Hakuki for samurai fights that read like heartbreak in motion. At 16, we've got Basilisk. Basilisk is straight up lethal and fast. Two clans, deep vendettas, and fights that end before you can blink. Hesitation kills here. The swordplay emphasizes cunning, tricks, and brutal precision rather than romanticized swings. Every duel has sharp consequence and tactical flair, poison, speed, and sudden, fatal moves. It's compact and ruthless. If you want urgency and brutal efficiency in a blade fight, Basilisk cuts right to the point. Sliding into number 15, Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga treats blades like survival tools. These fights are heavy and physical. Momentum, reach, and exhaustion matter more than flashy technique. The choreography shows how every strike exacts a cost, breath, blood, or time, and the winner is often the one who endures. Battles feel lived in and painfully authentic. Watch Vinland Saga when you want grounded, visceral duels that emphasize consequence and the human toll of combat. At number 14, we have Afro Samurai. Afro Samurai wraps sword fights in pure style. Each duel is short, cinematic, and designed to land as a defining moment. Slick framing, tight choreography, and a soundtrack that turns violence into atmosphere. It's not about long wars. It's about a handful of unforgettable clashes that reveal character and motive. If you want fights that feel like a scene from a noir samurai film, sharp, personal, and visually iconic, Afro Samurai nails that mood. At number 13, we have Shigurui, Death Frenzy. Shigurui shows duels in bone-deep detail, slow, surgical, and often brutal. The fights are about mechanics and consequence, precise wounds, painful recoveries, and the raw human cost of every strike. There's no glamour here. The series forces you to watch what real blade trauma looks like. It's uncomfortable and honest, designed to leave an impression about how dangerous true dueling is. For stark authenticity in sword combat, Shigurui is unforgettable. At number 12, we have Katanagatari. Katanagatari treats each fight like a theatrical set piece. The swords are unique and battles feel inventive. Clever tactics, memorable weapons, and a playful sense of showmanship. Choreography here is less about brutal realism and more about storytelling and surprise. Moves reveal who the fighters are. The pacing lets you savor clever exchanges and enjoy the creative flavor of each duel. If you want smart, stylish fights that surprise, Katanagatari is a fresh ride. At number 11, we have Berserk. Berserk brings raw power to every duel. Blades feel massive, and each swing lands like a sledge. Combat is punishing and visceral. The fights are driven by rage, survival, and trauma. Not finesse, but overwhelming force and consequence. You watch for the sheer physicality and the emotional weight that powers each battle. It's relentless and vivid. When Berserk hits, it leaves scars. on characters, and on viewers. Expect uncompromising, heavy-hitting sword work. At number 10 we have Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works. Unlimited Blade Works mixes precise technique with spectacle. Duels are tactical, with magic layered on top of disciplined swordplay. Timing and positioning matter as much as raw power. Battles play like contests of skill and strategy, and noble phantasms raise the stakes without losing technical clarity. You get elegant thrusts, calculated combos, and cinematic payoff. For choreographed, strategic sword fights that also let you enjoy grand spectacle, Unlimited Blade Works balances both worlds. At number 9 we have Ninja Scroll, the series. Ninja Scroll is old-school adrenaline and speed. Expect quick exchanges, surprise techniques, and relentless pressure. Fights can flip in seconds. The series leans on reflex, momentum, and inventive enemy designs that keep you on edge. It's visceral, loud, and immediate, perfect when you want high-energy duels without philosophical baggage. If you crave classic 90s bite in a sword fight, Ninja Scroll delivers brisk, punchy action that never lets up. At number 8, we have Blade of the Immortal. Blade of the Immortal gives duels a hushed, melancholy tone. The central idea of an immortal fighter changes how every clash reads. There's always a sense of penance and consequence. The swordplay itself feels weathered and earned, not perfect, but layered with history and motive. Each duel often reads like a chapter of a life, heavy with purpose. For morally complex, intimate fights that carry emotional weight, Blade of the Immortal stays with you. At number 7 we have Gintama. Gintama hides its depth behind jokes until it goes serious. Then the sword fights land hard. The tonal contrast makes serious arcs hit with unexpected emotional weight. Characters you laughed with suddenly fight with everything on the line. Choreography varies wildly, but when the show commits, the duels are expertly staged and meaningful. It's an unpredictable mix of comedy and raw skill. Number 6, Sword of the Stranger. Sword of the Stranger is a masterclass in clarity and flow. The duels are clean, readable, and feel technically authentic. Every parry and footstep matters. Animation emphasizes small adjustments that decide outcomes, so fights feel convincingly human and intense. There's no clutter, just fighters meeting with everything at stake and choreography that reads like real skill. If you want precise, high-adrenaline sword work presented clearly and beautifully, this is one to study. Breaking into the top 5, Samurai Champloo. Samurai Champloo moves like a beat, sword fights that groove. Timing, rhythm, and improvisation shape each duel. It's as much about flow and personality as it is about winning. The show blends hip-hop energy with samurai tradition, so choreography feels musical and inventive rather than purely brutal. You watch for creative movement and the way each encounter reflects a character's style. For stylish, rhythm-driven clashes that never feel stale, Champloo shines. At number 4, Dororo. Dororo ties sword fights to loss and reclamation. These are often desperate, raw duels. People fighting to take back what's been stolen or to survive brutal odds. Techniques may be unpolished, but the resolve behind them makes every swing meaningful. Many encounters carry spiritual undertones, revenge, redemption, and the cost of power. If you want action that serves deep character stakes and moral weight, Dororo makes each cut count. Number 3, Rurouni Kenshin. Rurouni Kenshin defines classical samurai dueling, precise, restrained, and philosophical. The fights emphasize control and intention. A slash is a statement, not just violence. The show balances speed with thoughtfulness, teaching the viewers something about honor and the cost of killing. Duels often carry emotional lessons, and technique reveals character growth. For traditional samurai swordplay delivered with heart and principle, Kenshin is timeless. Runner-up, number 2, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer turns sword combat into living art. Breathing styles and brilliant animation make each technique visually distinct. Fights become expressive set pieces with color and rhythm. The choreography grows with the characters. Technique evolves as they learn and push limits. You watch for painterly visuals and emotional stakes that make every duel feel cinematic and personal. For breathtaking, character-driven sword fights where style and story meet, Demon Slayer sets the bar. And taking the #1 spot, Bleach Thousand Year Blood War. Bleach puts speed, spirit, and spectacle at the center of its duels. Sword fights range from quick tactical exchanges to massive, emotionally charged showdowns. Blades are tied to identity and power, so style reveals intent and inner truth. The series escalates well. Small fights build into huge confrontations with dramatic payoff. If you want high energy, varied swordplay with memorable climaxes, Bleach packs the kind of duels that stick with you. And that's the list from Openime. 18 anime that prove sword fights can be more than just flashes of steel. They can tell stories, reveal emotion, and define characters. Which one stood out the most to you? Drop it in the comments. And if you want more anime lists like this, you already know what to do. Until next time, stay sharp.